I'd like to welcome you all to our Tuesday 1:30 p.m. session today with Age Friendly DC covering 311 and amongst other things. And thank you so much for coming on our session today. I'm going to read our disclaimer before we get started. The WildTech DC Senior Digital Equity Program, its owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information, any apps or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thanks so much for letting me read the disclaimer. If you cannot see us, hear us, or see the screen, please let us know in the chat. As always, let's make sure to keep our TVs and cell phones in mind and make sure you take notes. You could take screenshots as well, but you can also review this session on our YouTube channel. So you can review and rewind as much as you'd like. So Leah and Gail, if you could introduce yourselves and what you'll be covering today, we really appreciate it. And thanks so much for coming on our session.
Of course. And I will share my screen real quick so we can see the slides, if that is okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Thank you so much.
Awesome. And I apologize. I have two monitors in front of me. So I have slides and I have you in front of me here. So I might be looking two different directions, but just know I can hear and I can see you the whole time. And Alex, if you would please let me know if there is a hand raise that I did not get to, I'd really appreciate it as well.
Oh, no, thank you. Your video looks crystal clear. You too, Gail. You sound great. We really appreciate the readiness and the promptness, and I love this engaging presentation. So thank you so much. I'm here to assist.
Well, thank you so much. So my name is Leah Behrens, and I've been working with Age Friendly for about a little over 2 years now. And I've been working alongside Gail, who is the founding Age Friendly DC coordinator. And I'll have her introduce herself a little bit more. Gail, go ahead.
Hi, all. I do know some of your names, so I'm delighted to re-see you and really pleased and impressed by what Alexander and you have learned together to do and benefit from what we can now expect to be our future. I'm delighted to be here. I've now moved on. I'm doing other stuff, but Leah's here, and very soon there may be a change in which the age-friendly DC coordinator position will be filled. Right now, there's a hiring freeze in the government, so nothing is happening, but we expect that will change and that there will be a new person in the role. Meanwhile, I'm going to volunteer, and I'll be with you from time to time. You'll see me again. Leah, I will tell you, has a great new job. She's going to be starting on Monday.
Yes, I will be at Leading Age, which is a great organization that helps nonprofits that are in the aging space. So might see me in a different setting next time. But I do thank you. I appreciate it. But I do really want to thank Alex as well as Lou for inviting us today to be a part of this webinar and really just share this space with you all today. We really appreciate it. But before we dive into today's focus of navigating DC's 311 services, we're going to briefly touch on Age Friendly DC. And some people might have heard of Age Friendly DC, but we want to kind of get into a little more of the nitty gritty and things that we've worked on in the past year and couple of months, and to really understand Age Friendly DC. So first of all, what is Age Friendly DC? It is a cross-sector initiative of the DC government, and it's designed to make the district a more livable place for residents of all ages across their lifespan. And it is housed in the office of the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, where we collaborate with 26 government agencies to ensure that lifelong aging is considered in all city planning and actions. And also we work with community partners as well. And our three main focuses or pillars are the built environment, changing attitudes about age and other characteristics, and lifelong learning. And with these pillars, we work with a task force that was appointed by the mayor, and it includes city leaders as well as community representatives to develop and implement strategies that truly reflect the needs of all DC residents. And with that said, little introduction, I'm going to pass it off to Gail to talk about our new life course approach.
So I wanted to just make sure that you understand what we're doing with our 2024 to 2028 plan. In the past, we've focused a great deal of attention on making life better for those who are now older. But what we realize is that things go wrong earlier in life that adversely affect what it is like to be an older adult. So we're very much now focused on the fact that you have people who are younger in your circle of friends, in your relatives, who need to be already thinking about how they can stay fit, how they can keep on top of technology, how they can do the kinds of things that make life much more pleasant. So it's a lifelong focus that we now have. We've always had our eye on equity. Equity is really important to us because of the fact that we know that some people get left behind earlier in life and as they grow older. So it's really, really critical that we have an equity focus. And then as Leah noted, there are 26 agencies and age and community organizations that are very, very much involved in what's going on. That would seem like, why are they involved? Well, because of the fact that they too are providing services that are helpful to people of all ages. Next slide, Leah. So here is our mission and our vision, and I'll start with the vision because I think that's what you need to know. We'd like to see well into the future, a city in which all community members have optimal health, longevity, living a long life, and quality of life as they grow older. And our mission is to improve the experience of aging for all DC community members by making improvements in the built environment, changing attitudes about age and other characteristics, and improving lifelong health and security. Next slide, Leah. This is a slide that's intended to help you understand how we're organized. The mayor has a task force that advises us on how and what we should be doing in order to make the city an easier place in which to live, learn, work, and play. And suddenly the slide got very small. There it is. There are co-chairs for the task force, one of whom is in DC government, and that's the Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services, Wayne Turnage, and the other of whom is in the private sector, a man by the name of James Appleby, who is the CEO of an organization called Gerontological Society of America, which does a great deal of research on what makes it easier for people to grow older. We have community facilitators that were working with us, and within each of those pillars that we've been talking about, the built environment, there are areas in which we have been focused. Outdoor spaces and buildings is under built environment, along with transportation and housing, the domain about which we hear more than anything else. If we go to the area of changing attitudes about about age and other characteristics, you're going to see social participation, which you're doing by attending these sessions, respect and social inclusion, which is important to us to get people involved who are part of special populations. And then finally, civic participation and employment. There are people who want to work and there are people who don't want to work. Those who want to work should have that opportunity and or to be involved in expressing their opinions to the DC government, as well as the federal government. And then finally, communication and information, which really affects all of what we do. Then finally, if we look over to the final pillar, you'll see lifelong health and security, and their community support and health services. As we were beginning this meeting, a number of you were talking about either having been to appointments with your physicians and or going to physicians appointments. We focus on what happens with health and how you're able to get that health services. Emergency preparedness and resilience, abuse, neglect, and undue influence, financial security, lifelong learning, public safety, and care partnering all were added to the domains that were required by the World Health Organization and AARP because of things we heard from age-friendly listening sessions with the public, including some of you. As I say, I recognize some of you. So you've already been involved in some way or another. That's the structure of the initiative that we are part of. Move to the next slide.
Thank you for going over that. I love lifelong learning. We definitely embody that over here.
You certainly do. And your review of what's happening this month just made me excited. I mean, there are lots of things going on that by being a part of what you're doing, you're part of doing the lifelong learning you're doing a great example of that. So here we're going to go through very quickly because I really want us to get to the reason that we wanted to talk to you, and that's 311. So I've already gone through the domains that are part of the built environment, and I'm going to move on to changing attitudes about age and other characteristics, which again, I went through that set of domains. And then finally, lifelong health and security. And here we are with a little more detail that you can, if you wish to go back and look at the slides, learn a little bit more about each area. Next slide, Leah. There's a very nice report on what happened in the previous 5 years that we encourage you to take a look at. It's at the Age Friendly DC website. And do you want to explain the link, Leah? Can't hear you.
I'm muted. Also, we will send out these slides, but once we send out these slides, you'll be able to click this link and it will take you directly to our website and to this report. So that will be very helpful for you once you have access to these slides.
And then go on to the next slide.
I actually just put the link to it in the chat. And then again, the session will be on our YouTube channel, so they can rewind. But if you ever have a link, you can put it in the chat, and everyone can save it. So I just shared the general website. I hope that's the right one. But there's Age Friendly DC's website. So any links, you can share them in the chat as well.
Awesome, thank you.
That's helpful. So now we're on to what's happening for the next 5 years from 2024 to 2028. And these are strategies that we've come up with that resulted from a lot of listening to DC residents to make sure that we could make an important statement about what needs to be done moving forward. So that's this document that you can go and visit in more detail. And then Leah, move on. And then there's the livability survey. And I'm betting that there are a number of you who have taken advantage of the opportunity to share your opinions every summer. So we've done a livability survey every summer to hear more from DC residents and what they think about what's happening in the district now. And we will have another opportunity, you'll have another opportunity this summer to complete the livability survey. Alexander, we'd appreciate your help dispersing those surveys this summer because it's really going to matter that we have as many people participate as possible. And
Yes, sure. We'll definitely email and thank you so much for bringing it up. I was not aware. I shared the link to the survey in the chat, and we'd love to assist.
so we
Awesome.
can, it's really, really helpful because the participation of more people about their opinions of what's happening in the city really makes a difference in terms of what we do next.
Yeah, looking through, I love the breakdown of the wards and the information and how you guys break it down. So it's a great scope of what may need some assistance. So thank you so much.
Happy to bring this to your attention. And Alexander, spread it far and wide. The more people who know about it, the better. And we'll get you the new survey when the 2025 survey comes out. It'll be in every library across the city, but there will also be presentations about this throughout the summer. Leah,
And
move on.
And there'll
Sorry.
also be an online version as well that you can fill out on your personal device as well.
And
Thank you.
Alexander, if you want us to come back and administer that survey and talk about the survey, we'd love to have another opportunity to work with the group.
Oh, thank you again, Gail. We'll certainly email to see if we are able to put you on our schedule again. So thank you so much.
So this is last year's 2024's livability survey and who participated. And I would just point out to you that 1 in 4 of the participants identified as having a disability. And that's something that will grow. We know it will grow through time as the population grows older in the District of Columbia. And the participants ranged from 18 to 100. So there were lots of people of different ages participating in 2024. And then if you look to the right, you'll see a map of the district and see where the participants came from, what ward they were in. And that will help you to understand that we really want participation from all parts of the city. And then finally, the sample includes a racially as well as age distribution. So here you go with, but look how many women filled it out as opposed to men. What do you think that's about? Women like to share their opinions, I guess.
Well, you see our participants, it's very much congruent. That's what I'll say.
And
But yeah.
And I'd love to add to this part about the median age of being 60 years old for this past survey. And 2023, it was actually 65. So we're really happy that we're able to get a wide range of adults at different levels of aging.
So next slide.
And Gail, this is where I can take over for a little bit.
Great.
So now that we've gone through all of our age-friendly stuff, this part will be a little more interactive. So
do we want to ask if anyone had any questions for at this point?
Absolutely. Yeah. If anyone has any questions, please raise your hand or put them in the chat, whatever you feel most comfortable with.
Or blurt out.
Oh, well, we love to raise hands so we can make sure everyone has the chance to share. So if you have any questions or comments, please raise your hand. And especially if Gail, if you know Gail, we'd love to hear from you and your experience with Age-Friendly DC. But again, thank you for going over the organization and how you guys operate. It definitely painted a picture. So thank you so much.
Hey, Doris has her hand up.
Yeah, any other questions? Please raise your hand. We love to hear from you. Hi, Ms. Doris. How are you doing today? Oh, you gotta make sure. I know that was
I just wanted to know how did y'all advertise what y'all doing? Because I've never heard of this until today.
Somehow or another, in spite of all the effort that we make to try to let people know about Age-Friendly, there are always people who don't know. and haven't had the opportunity. That's why it's so good for us to have a variety of groups that we speak with, including yours. Any other questions?
No, that didn't quite answer my question, but that's okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ms. Doris. We really appreciate it. We got Yvonne next. Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Leah, and your assistant there.
Gail,
Gail, thank you, Gail. I'd like to know to what use the results of the survey will be put. And I know you said you worked with the deputy mayor for
Health and Human Services.
Services, Deputy Mayor for Health and Human Services. And will the results, when should we expect the results of the survey, and to what use? And can we expect any changes as a result of the survey results?
The task force that we described to you earlier, the task force, the group that comes together, are as well as the 26 agencies that we work with. We share the results with them as well as the community organizations. And as a result of that, we identify those actions that are being taken that are compatible with where the survey results are shown. And I think an example that comes to mind, and Leah, you should come up with other things that are important, but I would say that the one that strikes me is that people were really interested in talking about how well their neighborhoods engaged last summer. And as a result of that, we've been working hard to get a block by block walk ready for the fall that will enable us to identify safety hazards in locations that are most challenged. So that's an example of something that came up out of the surveys that we know we need to address. Make the walking around the District of Columbia as safe as possible.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great example, Gail. And I would like to add to that. So big picture, we use this survey year to year for different purposes. So 2023 was looking at the past 5 years, so 2028 to 2023, to help with our evaluation process of our strategic plan, to see how well we did, what we still need to improve on in the district, and how we can move forward with those improvements. So that was incorporated into our 2024 to 2028 strategic plan, but we also were able to build objectives around information from the 2024 livability survey for our new strategic plan. So really helping guide us and show what direction we're going, where we need to hone in our services and our communication with our partners. And another good example of that is we were able to provide data to DDOT, the Department of Transportation here in the district, because they were lacking data on older adults. So we were able to compile the data from our survey and say, hey, here is 55, 65 plus in each ward, and really break it down for them because they expressed a need that they wanted to utilize to build more understanding of district members. And so the next survey will come up this summer, and then the next report for that survey would be in the fall of 2025.
Okay.
I hope that can answer your question.
Yes, very much so. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yvonne. Any other questions about Age-Friendly DC? Anything that we covered so far? Any other questions from you guys? would love to answer any questions.
Oh, yeah, by all
Mhm.
means. Your questions make it clear what we can do to be more articulate about what we're explaining to you.
Yes, I think the first question that was asked, I mean, how do you guys advertise or just like organizations like this? So I love that you guys are on, so we can have more, folks know about Age Friendly DC. But do you guys normally do outreach events or in the community, or do you have social media or YouTube? I know you also at the end you can also share some of those links too. But how do where are you guys at in the community?
We have a
So
monthly newsletter that you can talk about, Leah. And you can talk about the social media that we're part of.
yes, so both of those are going to be our last slides at the end, but they
Hmm.
will have more information about our newsletter. I know we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. And our
Yep.
social media, we're across all platforms, as well as our website is updated pretty regularly as well. But I would say the best way monthly to keep up with Age Friendly DC is that newsletter. And I can post that link later on in this presentation in the chat for you to sign up for it. And yep, I would say that, and then outreach events as well. Like we met Alex in Wild Tech at the mayor's holiday party this past year. And so any big events like that, we're always tabling and interacting with as many community members as we can.
And each of you belong to groups. And if you want to have a presentation about Age Friendly, please let us know. We're more than happy to bring to your attention anything that focuses specifically on any topic you want to hear more about that we're working on.
Thank you so much, Gil. Yes, everyone, we'll get that information at the end, so please keep that in mind. And we have time for one more hand, and then I think we'll go on to our 311 session. So, Yvonne, thank you again for another question. We
Oh,
love it.
yes. Well, thank you. I was thinking about the villages because I am active with the East Rock Creek Village. And I know they're throughout the city. Each ward has a village, I believe. I would
There are
imagine,
13. There are 13 villages across the district. Yeah.
absolutely. And I should think that the findings of your survey would be helpful if they were particularly shared with the villages around the city, because they work very closely in a hands-on way with the persons in their particular jurisdictions.
And not only have we made presentations at individual villages, but we have made presentations across villages. So we've been there before, but we're always ready to go back.
Okay, thank
I'm
you.
the founding exec of Capitol Hill Village, so I'm very familiar with the villages.
Oh, yes. I go to East Rock Creek Village, East Rock Creek.
And I was there when you were forming. I remember being there at the table, so I may have met you.
Well, I wasn't the charter member, but I've been more active most recently and enjoy so many of their events.
That's great.
I love that, Yvonne. Thank you so much for sharing your experience.
Surely.
Mm-hmm. So yes, please put any questions or have any other age-friendly DC questions, please say them for the end. We'd love to hear from you. I love that you guys came on to do 311. We actually, you mentioned DDOT. We had Miss Michelle come on last year from DDOT, and I distinctly remember that was very, very interesting. And we had Miss Danielle from the Office of Unified Communications talk
Oh,
about
good.
Yeah, the 311 app with this before. So I love this graphic, this refresher, and it's so timely with the weather and everyone being outside, and there's a lot of things going on in DC. So for us to have a great summer, well, let's contact 311 for our needs so we all can have a great summer. So some of these look very familiar and they've been helpful and utilize the services too. So thank you so much for coming on again.
Awesome. Well, thank you for stealing my introduction. But I appreciate knowing that where we're starting. So we've had a little touch on the app version, is what it sounds like. And I'm going to go through all of the different ways to contact 311 today and go through a little demo via their website as well. So just keeping that in mind. But I wanted to kind of give an overview, those that are not as familiar with 311. So 311 is our one-stop shop, really, for any service experience from DC government services, non-emergency needs, and information within the district. And it is operated out of the Office of Unified Communications, or OUC, and it is available 24/7, 365 days for residents, visitors, and businesses. And whether you're requesting a trash pickup, reporting a pothole, or checking a city agency's information, 311 connects you quickly and efficiently to the right sources. And I want to take a pause real quick and see who here, by a show of hands, by raising their hand, has used 311 before.
Yep, raise your hands, you guys. And raise your hands if you've called 311, if you use their app, if you've been on their social media.
In
Yeah.
any capacity. Oh, love
Yay.
to see it.
Oh yeah, 10. We're at 10 hands. Let's get some more hands. If you call 311, utilize their services, please raise your hand.
Awesome.
Oh, lucky number 13.
Wonderful.
Well, we might have a couple of pros here in the audience, but hopefully we can learn a little bit more about 311 or just use this as a quick refresher.
And it's great. 311 offers so many different services, some that you may not use every day. So again, thank you so much for the review.
Absolutely.
Could I throw in an example that was extreme that I thought was really incredible?
Sure.
When I was with Capitol Hill Village, one of our members called at 10 o'clock at night. She had a flood in her basement. And we called 311 and immediately sorted out where the source of the leak was coming from into her basement, which turned out not to be something in her house, but something from the DC water direction. And that got resolved that evening. It was amazing, but it was 311 that got us on the right track.
That's awesome. That's a great example of how 311 can be utilized in everyday situations. And a couple others that I want to highlight that 311 can be used for: trash collection, whether that is missed or scheduled trash collection or a bulk pickup. Maybe you have an old chair that you've been ready to get rid of and just need somewhere to throw it or someone to pick it up. Also, we have potholes that are very commonly reported, broken meters or damaged street signs. Maybe people are blowing through a stop sign because there's a bolt missing and it is twisted to the left when it should be twisted to the right. Or for broken meters, I've seen accessibility meters or wheelchair meters that are just for wheelchair accessible vehicles, that those stickers have fallen off. So people are parking there and then they're receiving tickets. And so it becomes a big dispute. We also have abandoned cars or vehicles, illegal dumping, tree services, streetlight repairs, police non-emergencies like noise complaints or vandalism. And so these examples, you would call or you would contact 311 and you could ask for agency phone number as well, or hours of operation or office location. So maybe there's something that you're like, I really want to talk to DPR about XYZ, about there not being enough kickboards at the pool. who do I need to contact? And they can really help direct you. So they are our middleman, and they know who you need to talk to. So who is answering 311? And I just want to flag, this is if you are calling the number 311 in DC. So if you are calling via your phone, there are highly trained customer service representatives that answer these calls. And they work around the clock, 365 days a year, to make sure requests are submitted correctly and routed to the appropriate DC agency. And if you accidentally call 311 but actually need emergency help, don't worry, they can immediately transfer you to 911. So we'd rather have this situation happen. We have a lot of the times where people are calling 911, and then we'll have to get rerouted to 311. And so we want to make sure that we keep 911 open for emergencies, so we're not on long waits when there's really an emergency happening. So just keeping that in mind of why we really need to spread the word about using 311.
So 311 for non-emergencies and 911 for actual emergencies.
Yes, exactly. And I'll touch on that a little bit later with some advertisements that you might see floating around the metro. But first, I want to point out all the ways that we can reach 311. So previously, we talked about calling or texting. So you can dial 311 when in DC, but if you're outside DC, you can call 202-737-4404, and that will connect you to 311 within DC. And then for texting, and I will go through this a little bit later, so I'm not going to get nitty-gritty about it quite yet, but there is a little texting tutorial that I will go through. And then next, we have the online or socials that you can use, and that is 311.dc.gov. And there is a live chat function there from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:15 p.m. But remember, the call version available 24/7. You can also tweet at 311dc.gov, and you can also download that mobile app, which it sounds like a couple here are familiar with that mobile app version.
Yeah,
And
the
that
app is actually on all the iPads. So when I contacted 311, I use the app.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's try a demo real quick. So I am on my laptop computer, and I will be using the website. With that said, you can access this website from any device that has access to the internet or is connected to the internet.
Mhm. So yep, if you want to follow along, you can go on Safari or on your iPads, which again most of you have. You can also check out the app or go to the website. The website has some more information. You can also access the site from the app as well. So it's a great experience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that little tidbit of extra information. So here is the website for 311, and we have suggested requests at the homepage where you'll see very commonly requested 311 services, such as potholes or recycling collection. Maybe it was missed, or schedule yard waste. That's probably a big one right now with all the spring cleaning and gardening going on. And then you kind of have them broken up into categories over here. So you have popular services requests, signs, signals, and parking, transportation, grass, park, recreation and trees, public safety, streets and streetlights, trash, and animals, and unsightliness. So we have these categories that can help you navigate, but you can also go to all requests, and this is where you'll find a lot of options.
Wow, I saw beads, posters, the dumping, and the organizations too for some of these, which can make it really easy to find, like FEMS. That looks like smoke alarm application. Didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, and there's several on here that I was even perusing through it a couple weeks ago, and one that always caught my eye was tree planting, requesting tree planting. Maybe there's a corner that, you know, people are waiting for the bus often, or there's a long wait for the crosswalk. You're like, well, it would be really nice if we had a tree here to shade us. That's an option right there. Or tree pruning. That's a big one I always think of if you are driving or walking or commuting in DC, if there is a shrub or a tree that is making it hard for vehicles to see a pedestrian and possibly putting them in an unsafe situation, this is a great one to check out for tree pruning. So we have so many options here. And so you might, you know, get lost in what's going on here. But there's also a search option. So I'm going to walk us through submitting a request online.
Oh,
I've had,
I have an example. Do you mind?
sure, I have an example too. So we can use multiple examples. That might make this even better.
Yes, because one of our seniors said, and let's see if we could do this with the website. So they had this trash bin, and it was specially marked due to, I guess, disability, etc. That's supposed to be picked up, but they did not pick up that particular trash can that week. They didn't. So how would you do that on the website or the app?
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with trash.
I hope this helps out. They may not be on the call.
Let's say trash collection missed. And then here, if you click on it, it will tell you a little bit about it. So please use the service request type to report missed regular trash collection. If routine trash collection falls on a holiday, the service will be delayed by 1 day. And then it tells you the department it will go to, which is DPW or Department of Public Works. And then the resolution estimate of 2 days. So we're going to click request this service. And let's say they had a picture of this trash can or trash that was supposed to be removed. That's where they could upload that picture.
It looks a little different on the app, but it's the same steps. So maybe you can take it with your iPad and send and upload it by clicking on that same button you would see in the app. So that's hopefully you guys are able to do that.
And then it will let you move forward. You do not need to upload a file. That's something important to note to move forward. So you're able to just continue without doing that. Let's do.
Could we answer Ann Dennis's question?
Oh, yes. Thank you for bringing that to my attention.
I was waiting until maybe after this request.
Okay. Just didn't want her to be missed.
Oh no, we certainly got you, Ann. Thank you so much.
And let's go. Do you have a general location, Alex, where this was at?
No, I'm sorry. I know it's somewhere down, but just as an example.
Okay, let's go over to I Street. And so the biggest thing that I find a little finicky, I'll say, on the website is if you were to, let's say, click here or click here. I'm trying to find a good example of this. Is sometimes the blue is where there is a known address, and the red is where you are trying to say that you are reporting this incident at. And so you can move the red around and the blue will stay where it's at. So there you can say, okay, closest address is 100 I Street Southeast, but what was occurring is right here on I Southeast Street. So you would say continue. And these are just reminders about household trash and how it is collected and what might disrupt it, as well as the holiday collection. And then this is where you would say, is it once a week? Is it twice a week? Do you know off the top of your head, Alex, by chance?
I'm not sure of the actual one, but this I like that they have these questions.
Exactly. It's good to know. So let's just go with once a week. I'm going to go, I know mine is collected on Monday, so I'm going to hit Monday, but you can hit multiple days. So that's also something to know.
I
And
think
this
one
part, you,
Oh, sorry. I think just one thing important to note is, in any case, I love that you guys have so many forms of communication. So you could call, you could, text. Again, you can use the app, you can tweet. There's so many different ways. So please call if you ever need assistance. So
exactly. So if you ever get stuck, are you trying to do it online, or you're trying to do it through the app, or you're trying to text, calling is always an option as well. So here is where your trash and recycling is collected, let's say the rear. And so keep in mind for this part, I had to select answers for these 3 questions in order to move on. So now my continue button is lit up blue so I can move on. And here you can write additional information. And I feel like this can be the most important part, giving them all of the information they could possibly need so they don't have to turn into little detectives. So for example, with the map, you're like, well, it's not exactly in the right spot. This would be a great place to note. On the street going northwest or heading towards South Capitol Street, there should be a trash can picked up, and it was missed and it wasn't picked up. And also to note, the resident is living with a disability and was told this should be picked up. So giving them as much information as possible, I think, is really, really key.
yes, thank you. And right here on the iPad, putting in the location is so easy. It's just a search bar at the top, and you type in that address, but it automatically picked up my address on the iPad, so I didn't even have to, find it. It just automatically came up. So it's really helpful.
Exactly. And then here you would put in your name and your email and everything. I'll put in mine real quick. And then this is how they'll be able to contact you and let you know where the status of your request is at. And so then you'll say submit request, and I'm not going to for obvious reasons, but you can review everything here. So you have trash collection, you have the location, you have your attachment if it is there, you have your details. So these were the 3 that I was talking about that needed to be filled out before you could move on. Additional information, and then contact information. And then real quick, I'm going to show you examples of pictures I took the other day of potholes that are in a bike lane that is frequently used. And I was trying to get as many angles as possible. But as you can see, it's very rough on this side, but very smooth on the left side. So what ends up happening is people riding on the right side end up pedaling into traffic or pedaling into biking traffic. So I was going to make a request about that to let them know that this should be something that they should resurface, especially because it is very close to the mall and that we have a lot of bike flow and scooter flow through there.
Yeah.
But
definitely.
And then last thing I'll say on this is a big thing you can also request through this is there are a lot of scooters and there's a lot of bikes that are on our sidewalks. And a lot of the times they get put where they're not supposed to be put. And they get in the way of people that are traveling on the sidewalk, or maybe even boxing people in their driveway or their walkway or their driveway, anything like that. That is something else you can put in and say, hey, there is litter. I'm trying to find what the name of it is. I think it's, I'm going to type in bike. Dockless vehicle parking complaint. That is one to note that we've heard come up a ton. So just checking that one as well. All right, I'm going to go back here.
Thank you, Leah, for going over that with us. Thank you for going over on the website. And I also, again, just reshared the link in the chat, but it's also, again, should be on your iPads as well. So make sure you check out all the different ways you can contact 311. Did you want to do questions and then do this? Or did you want to, how many slides do you have left?
I have a couple more slides. This one I'm going to skip over. This one is the texting information as well. And this is kind of what it will look like once you text 32311, and you can text them menu or new, and that will give you, if you text them menu, it will give you options such as this, and you'll just have to text back a number to submit a request for a service. Or you can check your status, or you can get information about other DC agencies. All right, now this kind of ties into the question part. So how has 311 worked for you in the past if you have used it? What were some good things? What were some things that need improving? I'd really like to hear via chat function or by raising your hand as well.
Oh, thank you again, Leah, for again your demonstration and all those different services. We really appreciate it so much. Please put any comments in the chat, any questions, how you feel, anything you'd like to share, but also please raise your hand. And let's try to keep the time in mind because time flies when we're having fun. All right, we got 3 hands. Any other hands? Raise your hands. This is the time to share. We got Anne, and then we got Miss Louise. Hi, Anne. How are you doing?
I would like to ask you one question. What is the time zone for noise eruption? I have somebody that likes to come and park in front of my house and play this loud music, this boom, 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 and my pressure's up, and I do not want to hear that.
I'm so sorry to hear about that. I'm not sure off the top of my head, but I can look into that real quickly and let you know by the end of this presentation.
And I want to thank you for the other information because I didn't know. I knew you could do some things on 311, but they've added a lot of things to 311.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
A lot. And so thank you so much for the presentation.
Yes.
And I hope you'll come back and do it again for some of us that don't have a long-term memory.
Of course. It's always good to use a refresher. Even while I was making this presentation, it helped me realize, oh, I can report that. But yes, I agree. There's plenty that you can find on here, more than I can remember.
Thank you, Anne.
Mm-hmm. And thank you. Was it Gail and
Leah?
Leah. I thought that was what it was, Leah, but I didn't want to call you out your name, wrong name. I hate that people do that.
Okay, Anne.
Okay.
So much.
Thank you both so much because it was very informative, and I learned a lot of new things, and and I thought that the legal counsel for the elderly had done a thing on 311 for the advisory council, and but this is more intricate and more things on it than that one, but that was a couple years ago. So
awesome! I'm glad to hear it.
Oh, yeah. So thank you.
To answer your question about the noise complaint, I looked it up briefly, and this is just what I'm getting from Google, and it says specifically noise is considered unreasonably loud between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay. All right.
Give them a call. Give them a, send a request, see what they say, okay?
Well, I have called, and I think they must have a radio, because as soon as they turn into River Terrace, they're gone.
Oh, Well, they're doing their job, right?
But at 1 o'clock in the morning and you get work out of your sleep and that medicine, it's kind of hard.
I know,
Mhm.
I know.
But thank you so much again for looking that up for me, Leah. And thank
Of
you
course.
again for the extensive knowledge that you gave us today.
Of course. Thank you so much for participating and learning something new today.
Thank you so much, Anne. We got Louise next. How has 311 work for you? Or any questions you may have. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I just want to ask Leah or Gail. I called 311 because I have a handicap sticker on my trash. And when I call, they transfer me to another department, and they came and pick up my trash 2 days later. Well, the next time I call again, and they said somebody will get it in 2 days or so, and they did. But that's not my main problem. Is I can't get the trash to the sidewalk, and it has a handicap sticker that they put on it. But every Tuesday, like tonight, I have to figure out how to get it from the front of my garage to the sidewalk. And so I don't know which way. I get frustrated. I just give up, and I call my son and tell him he has to come and put the trash on the sidewalk. But they put the sticker, and if they take the trash, they're supposed to bring it back for me, but they don't. But it still have the handicap sticker that they put on. So it's the trash people is the problem.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know? And so tonight I'm thinking, I hope I can get my son to come. My neighbor used to help me, and the son used to help me to put it, but he passed. And so the father is older. I can't expect him to pull my trash every Tuesday. So they pick up on Wednesday morning. But it's the problem with them getting it. If I don't have it on the side, on the corner, they won't take it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
It's the trash people are the problem.
Yep.
I understand. Gail, go ahead.
No, the other idea that occurred to me was serve DC. And finding someone to volunteer to be helpful, since Department of Public Works is having a problem doing what they know they've got to do, but somehow or another they're forgetting. Maybe having another neighbor help by getting that trash can out. Where do you? I shouldn't ask you, but there
It's,
may be a village in your area that could be helpful here too.
Yeah, Louise, I know you're uptown, so
I'm in Northeast near Providence Hospital, 4515 7th Street, Northeast. It's
yeah.
right behind the nursing home, behind Providence.
I don't know whether East Rock Creek would reach that far because they're the closest village to where you're talking about. But that and this really is a public works issue that should be solved. But I was just going beyond that, trying to sort something out. Another presentation we could do at some point, Alexandra, is on Serve DC.
Yes, I'm definitely aware of them too. So that would be nice. I think they were also at the mayor's party too. I think, but it would be nice to connect with them too for things like this.
Right.
I tried to contact one of the village in Brooklyn area.
Wow,
And
that's
the
a great
lady,
idea.
well, she spoke to me and she came and visit, and I never see her again.
Ah,
So I guess it was a new village they started in Brooklyn, but I think it didn't go off because she didn't come back. But she came
Brookland still has their village. How long ago was it that you checked in with them?
maybe about 2 months or so.
Boy, I would check in again.
Yes, you know, I understand your frustration, Miss Louise. You got
Yeah.
to call and you got to advocate, and and really, just try to get, a hold of someone. So I understand, it shouldn't be on us, but you have to advocate because there's a lot of things going on in the district right now. So sometimes things are gonna fall by the wayside, unfortunately. So you got to keep calling, you got to keep contacting who you did, so you can get things done. Right, right.
I try another village that is close to me because the Brooklyn one seemed to be brand new and they didn't get quite established yet.
I agree. I think that might be a great approach to start with, to
Yeah.
check out another village. But
It's
please let us know if there's any way that we can support you outside of looking for external support. I was going to suggest maybe putting a large note on the top of the maybe on the top and the side of the trash can, so that they know, hey, please put this back where you found it. And sometimes it's as easy as that, and sometimes people don't read it, but it's always worth a shot.
I've seen people try that before, Leah, like since I've been in DC. So if it's a big enough sign and paper, like, and you tape it on there good, that's, you could go both approaches so you can see the most results. So that's a good idea, Leah.
Yes.
So I hope that helps out, Louise. Make sure you let us know if you need some assistance. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much.
Our pleasure. It's good to know you gave 311 a call and you got that process started. So you did that.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Again, how has 311 worked for you? And then any questions you may have. Question. We got Ms. Doris next, and then we got Ms. Jeanette. How are you?
I was going to ask you there for your number because I got some health problems that I done filed complaints at 311. I've even talked to the supervisor. None of this stuff has been taken care of. And some of these things have led me to go in the hospital twice this month. So I need to get these issues resolved. Do you have any suggestions with that?
Gail, do you want to take this one?
You're saying you have health issues. You called 311 and
Mhm.
311 told
The
you to call
supervisor,
or
Mr.
contact
Pringle,
who?
Mr. Pringle's supposed to come out and deal with the trash cans. Then we have abandoned cars where these houses, you probably saw it on the news last week, where 3 houses caught on fire. They got all these cars in the back of the yard, and all that stuff is drawing rats. Then they got this tree out here full of pollen that's falling all over my front that needs to be removed. They told me they can't remove it until January the 6th. And I just was in ICU last week. So it needs to be taken down because it's making me sick.
311 is not going to, they're going to help you to get to the right place to solve your issue. They're not going to themselves be solving the issue. So what you've said are different issues for different agencies. So I think it's really worth making sure that you follow up and do what they told you, and or call 311 again and explain that nothing has happened so that they can report to the agency that's involved to get things moving along for you in the various directions that you just described.
Okay, I'll try again, but I done talked to the supervisor. Told me 5 days. It's been 3 weeks. Nothing has been done yet. Okay, thank you.
But I think Alex is right. You need to advocate for yourself. And further, I have another thought. Is this bothering the neighbors? I mean, you were talking about abandoned cars. I mean, this must be
It's
more
like
than
4 abandoned cars. 3 houses caught on fire. That's what put me in the hospital this time from the fire and the tree out there with all that pollen coming all over the place. I didn't ask for no tree. And the tree they had out there before was not that type of tree. So they said they can't move the tree till January the 6th. So am I supposed to suffer until January?
Well, you know, the pollen has fallen. So in
I have
fact,
chronic COPD. That's not gonna go away.
Mm.
you know, that comes then back to the Department of Public Works and getting things cleaned up. But you know, you've gotten, I would call back again. The supervisor got involved. Let's let them know that what they had thought they were able to get moving for you didn't work. Go back again and ask 311 to help you. 'Cause
Okay.
that's an easy way to get things done rather than trying to get to DPW and where they're gonna help you.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Sure.
And
Hey.
I'd like to add to that a little bit. Probably what DPW is saying with they can't remove it to January. I think their thought process is that is a better time to transplant the tree or use it in a different space, is my guess. But like you said, that doesn't solve your issue now. So I think highlighting that it is affecting you now and wouldn't be affecting you as much in January, considering the pollen.
Mm.
But that might really help support your case as well.
I hope that helps out, Ms. Doris. Okay, you got this. We believe in you. Okay, and then we got Miss Jeanette. Thank you so much. How has 311 worked for you, and or do you have any questions? Miss Jeanette, are you there?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I use 311, the website, and I've had great success with that. And I did at first have a problem because I went to the point where it said to download something, and I couldn't go further, but you don't have to do that. So when I figured that out, I went through, and then once they do services, they'll send you something where you please. I've also used it about rodent removal. They came out, they asked how were the services. So I haven't had any problem with them. So my
That's
thing here is our trash people are lazy. They'll drop trash out too much, and I'm the only one to go outside and sweep it and make sure my alley is clean. But if they would pick it up and put it in their trash, I think someone complained. I mean, they left trash cans all over the alley, down the alley. It should have been up my alley, my trash can down there. They're lazy. They won't even close the top of the trash cans. Just close it back up. So that's something that we are dealing with. But other than that, as far as calling 311, I don't know if I can call 311 about that. But other than that, 311 has worked for me. And thank you for coming on.
Thank you for that. It's good to know that you've had success with the website. That might serve as another or a new resource for someone that's wanting to contact 311. Like we've heard people on here that have contacted them maybe by calling. So maybe the website is another option or possibly a better option to get those issues resolved. As for the trash can situation, I believe that could be another 311 report as well, or request. And sometimes I think this is part of it, they don't follow into an exact category, right? So you can say, oh, miss trash or another trash category. But like I said, with the detailed description that you're allowed to put into the 311 submission form, that is where you could express those concerns that you're having. So they know exactly what they would be tackling. And really just skewing that category to really fit your needs, I think is the best bet. And my opinion. Gail, do you have anything to add to that?
I do. I just wanted to commend you for your use of the word we, because you clearly have a neighbor or more who are having the same issue. And if you could write into that particular block where you can describe things, that when you say we, you're talking about your neighbors as well. I mean, you're talking about Joe Doe or Jane Doe or whomever who are also having the same problem. That I think gets more attention when it's not just one person, but it's many people.
Hmm. Thank you for that, Gail and Leah. Just when in doubt, call. You know, I don't think 301's going to be mad at you to call for a challenge, because they you know, from the presentation know how to refer you to the right organization.
That's
So
it.
when in doubt, call. The worst that they can say is no. I mean, just in life, right? So call. You may never know who you might get. You might get your issue fixed in 2 days, as some of you have said. So call, and they can refer you to an organization or help. 301 does many things throughout the year. So no matter what it is, if it's something to do with the community, give them a call. Okay, that's what I'm getting from the session today. So I hope you all, you know, I hope you all agree. Thank you. Thank you for advocating for your community, Ms. Jeanette. All right, we got time for 2 more hands, so thank you so much. And then any final thoughts from our guests today? We got 2 more hands. First, we got Ms. Wilmatine. How has 311 worked for you?
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to say 311 has worked for me very well. I use it when I call, use the telephone though. I haven't used the app or anything, but they directed me when my aide need a parking parking permit to put in her car when she's working here, so she won't get a ticket on her car. So they directed me to the parking meter person. Well, not the parking meter person. They sent me an email, and we were able to print out the parking pass so she can put it in her car. And also, I called 311 when I was having rodent problems, and they helped me with that too. They sent out dates and sent me an email on the dates that they would send out something to put down to put poison down for the rodents in the back and in the front. So I've really used 311 quite a bit. Thank you very much.
Good.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you had such success with 311 and are going to continue to use it. So thank you for sharing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Ms. Wilmatine, for your experience. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Mm-hmm. I know, that's right, y'all. It's really helpful. I see here in the chat before our last hand. Thank you for sharing your experience as well, Ms. Mary. So thank you so much. And then we got Ms. Jennifer. Again, how has 311 worked for you? Make sure you hit unmute in the middle, okay?
Yeah, you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. They have helped me. Well, first I have to say that I'm a double amputee, and I use a ramp at the rear of my building. But I had some repair work done in the dinette and bathroom areas. And the workers put the trash in the front of the building that I don't use, because, as I said, my ramp is at the rear of my building. So I got this ticket that I have this trash, and something about that's not the proper way to dispose it and whatever. So I got this $150 ticket. So I said, which department would I call to explain my situation? I called 311, and they helped me by directing me to the department that deals with that gave me the ticket. And I was able to explain the situation, and it was rectified.
Oh,
So
great.
Wow.
I'm happy about that.
I know that's right, Miss Jennifer.
Mhm.
I love
Glad
that.
to hear another success story. I'm glad to hear it as well. Also happy to hear the complaints as well. They really help us learn where we can be reaching out to people and how we can be helping them, as well as we can carry this information back to OUC, who we work closely with. So thank you guys for all of your comments, whether positive or negative. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Miss Jennifer, for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, we got one more hand since we had some great questions, and then final thoughts. Yvonne, you have a quick another how has 311 work for you?
Very
or a quick
quickly,
question?
yes, thank you. I've used 311 many a time just by the telephone, but I'm happy to learn about all of the offerings on the website because I had no idea I could get all of those concerns addressed. But I live in Upper Northwest, and my neighborhood borders Montgomery County. And on occasion, when I've called 311, I get Montgomery County.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh my gosh,
instead
Yvonne.
of DC. So someone was able to secure a phone number, which I put in the chat if anyone else
Yeah.
ever has that problem.
Leah also shared it with us in the slide.
Oh, did she?
Remember that it was the 202 number, right, Leah, for 311?
Yes, it was 202-737-4404.
Oh, okay. I missed seeing that because several of my neighbors have had the same issue when they've dialed 311. They end up getting Montgomery County. And then a lot of them did not have this number, didn't know about it, but so sometimes it goes straight to 311 DC, and other times it goes to Montgomery County. So I just wanted to share that. But I have used it quite frequently for bulk pickup trash. And I'll look at some other concerns that I can address with the website, which I appreciate your going into detail regarding. Like Ann said, that was really news to me that we could do all of this on the website. So thank you so much. Thank you, both ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you for bringing that situation to our attention. I fear that if you're not the only one that missed my comment on the other number that you could call. So I'm glad you brought it to our attention so we can really let our neighbors know. And if you live on one of the bordering areas in the district, that might be very helpful to have that number in your phone, like you said. So thank you for bringing that up and making us aware of that.
Do any of you have neighborhood listservs? Neighborhood listservs? Is this something you've talked about, Alexander? Neighborhood listservs?
Not particularly.
It's a way of community engagement. And it's what I was thinking, any of you who do have neighborhood listservs or you're part of a faith-based community, share that number if you're on the border, because these issues do seem to come up when you live close to the border of the District of Columbia.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. I see here now some information about those. So they're email lists. So I appreciate that. I see a lot of communities like U Street and Palisades, Petworth. They have those. So thank you so much for that. So yes, Leah, did you have any more slides? I think you said you had some contact info, or did you want to do tips and the rest of your slides pretty quickly for us?
Yeah, I'll go through it quickly. So again, I will emphasize saving your confirmation number. So take a picture of it, send it to your neighbor that you've been complaining about this disruption in your neighborhood. Make sure you have it written down, put it in several places, because that will be the easiest way for them to be like, oh, we didn't know you called. And you're like, actually, I did call, and this is my confirmation number. That is very helpful. Adding a second is adding photos really help for faster service. That was like I was talking about, when sometimes the map isn't exact, especially if you're trying to do something on a road or on the corner. So if you can add a picture, it helps them have to do less detective work and takes less time to get that issue resolved. And if you register online through 311, you are able to check your past request and see what their status is. So that's another benefit of using the website.
Yeah, it's
And-
real easy to register.
Exactly. And then we have, for myths, we have nobody sees this request, and that's false. We know that someone from 311 does, as well as someone from the agency. We have 311 closes tickets too soon, and 311 again is that middleman, and they are routing it to an agency, and the agency would be the one that closes them. And lastly, you can't fix it if you lose your confirmation number. So again, make sure you have that confirmation number, but it is not the end of the world if you have an address that you can refer back to, or an email, or your phone number is a great way that they can look up information from you. Another graphic of when to call 311 versus 911. So 911, there's a crime in progress, there's a medical emergency, there's fire, smoke, or the smell of gas. Those are great examples, but not limited to. And then for 311, you want city services and information. You want to, you have a traffic complaint or a noise complaint, which we heard about earlier today. And this is the same graphic. You might see this one on a metro.
Yes.
And so quickly, how does Age Friendly DC use 311? So we are trying to make inclusive and accessible neighborhoods. And we are doing that, as Gail mentioned, through our block by block walk this fall. Our last one was back in 2015. So we are due for another one. And we will be reporting our findings to 311 by using this lovely 311 instruction. And this is from our past block by block walk. But really here, participants, volunteers will be able to log different complaints or issues that they have seen in the community while on their block by block walk, whether it is a sidewalk repair, a curb or gutter repair, or a traffic signal investigation, anything of that nature, and you'll be able to document it during this block by block walk. Similarly, we have our Vision Zero instructions, which follows other closely aligned problem areas that have to do with pedestrian safety, specifically trying to prevent pedestrian fatality. And then last but not least, you can sign up for our newsletter to stay in contact with us. You can attend our June 11th task force meeting, which will be us updating you on what Age Friendly is doing and what our partners are doing that is age friendly. You have our website that you can explore. You can join us for our block by block walk this fall by being a volunteer. You can also participate in that 2025 livability survey coming this summer. And lastly, please use this information you learned today and tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your family, because now you are more of an expert at 311 than most of the residents in DC. So use that knowledge, use that power to really help spread information that can make DC more accessible to all. And here you can scan the QR code, and I'll also put this link in the chat so you can sign up for our newsletter.
Yes, make sure those watching on YouTube, you can scan that QR code with your device. So make sure those watching on YouTube take advantage as well.
Awesome. And lastly, we have our social media that you can keep up to date with us and understand what we're doing week to week, day by day. And also our website. And here is Gail's contact information as well as our website again. And then we just want to really reiterate that we should be using 311, advocating for yourself and others, and really helping your neighbor. And that's how we are going to make DC even better and beautiful than the previous years.
We've had a good time talking with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Leah. Thank you, Gail, for coming on our session today. We very much appreciate it. I think in a minute or less from each of you, were you surprised by our group today? What did you learn? Maybe key points that you'd like folks to, again, remember, to share, but overall thoughts on your session today, what you heard from us. But we really appreciate you coming on.
I'm excited that you have as much going on, Alexander, as you do. I think it's great that WildTech is doing all that's happening. That's just wonderful.
Thank you so much. I love having different providers on. We'll be seeing Renee from Vision Zero soon as well. So
good.
Yeah, we're I love learning about different organizations and just bringing those lesser known but should be known organizations like Age Friendly DC to the masses. So just like Leah shared, please share this info with your community, share the video, rewind, and hopefully this session will have helped you out in some parts in your daily life. So let's all say thank you so much to Leah and Gail from Age Friendly DC, and we hope to see you all again sometime. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Gail. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
So
Have a great
much.
week.
Enjoy the
Bye-bye.
presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Come again.
much.
Yeah, please come again because I
Mm.
missed out on I was out and I missed a lot of it and I'd love to hear it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come
Great.
again. Thank
We
you.
also put
Thank you.
the newsletter registration is in the chat, the link for that, as well as our website and Gail's contact.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.